Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you a brand new series. What if Naruto was a scientist who created a virus and infected himself? Part 1 guys. If you enjoyed seeing 1C part 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button. And tell me then 1C part 2 guys. And I'll be posting it as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. And also, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3. Links will be down in the description for all of them. On this channel, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto at His Strongest was sent to another timeline, so go ahead and enjoy that. Over on Anime King, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was trained by Shao Kahn, so go ahead and enjoy that as well, guys. And also, over on Anime King 3, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was the ultimate Saiyan, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. So yeah, without further ado, remember tell me what you think in the comments and if you guys want me to continue this. And let's get straight into this brand new episode. Start the intro. Naruto gazed at the retreating figure of what used to be his surrogate grandson. His eyes was full of regret and sorrow. He hated what he had just done, but like most things he did, it was for the good of the village. He barely flinched as the door was slammed so roughly behind the person, it cracked. He sighed as he looked down towards his table. There was a file labeled LEAF. He lifted the file as he came across 7 ninjas. Each members were a part of the leaf. All of them but one had a big red stamp on them that said deceased. Each of them had their own areas of expertise: ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, kinjutsu, demolition, and medical. He sighed. All of them had a deceased marked on them except for one. Naruto Uzumaki, age 14, Special Jonin, leader of the unit, as his said demoted back to Genin. Naruto disbanded the unit after the mysterious death of the others as he found out what Leaf truly stood for: illegal efficiency, assault, attack, assassination force. At first, he thought that it was just a little training group that had named itself after its village, but soon, things started to seem rather strange with them. Missing persons that would turn up weeks later, mutilated, missing, stolen, lab equipments, missing chemicals. Naruto got his best people to look into this, and soon Leaf started to ask for missions, working their way from D to B rank. They asked for a long period of time to be spent outside the village, matter of months to be exact, on their missions. It was only after his 6th member died, things started to come into focus for him. While he had no solid proof about anything, Leaf was still under his command, so to stop any more people from being harmed, he disbanded the program, and he temporarily discharged Naruto from active shinobi. As he closed the file, Naruto shuddered a bit, for reasons unknown. Meanwhile, with that said blonde, as Naruto growled angrily as he stepped down the stairs of Hokage's tower, he was pissed off. The feeling of impending doom just by stepping close to him kept anyone from bothering him. He was dressed in what used to be the Leaf uniform: black cargo pants, tucked in a dull pair of combat boots, and a pair of knee pads. He wore a white tank top with a short sleeve fishnet shirt that was tucked into his pants. Under a long sleeve button up, black, long shirt. Under his shirt was a metal tube. On the back there was a symbol. It was a Konoha leaf symbol, but it was turned upside down, and the letters were underneath it: LEAF, which stand for their unit. As Naruto clenched his hands tightly, "Old prick," he said, "demote me to Genin just because 6 of them died, and after all I did for him and this shit piece of village. He cracked his fist in the wall with so much force that he felt his hand, the bone in his hand cracked. Shit, he says. He pulled his hand away as the wall had been broken. As he cradled his broken hand, as that only pissed him off even more. He took a deep breath as he calmed himself down. He was supposed to be leader of Leaf, even if he was now disbanded. He was the only one still living, and it wouldn't be good to lose his cool. After all, it was partially his fault why all of them were dead. Over the 3 years that Leaf had been together, they have been working on different chemicals in secret. They have been trying to create substances that would help them in their ninja careers. After they learn of Naruto's super healing, they start to work on it to recreate it for the rest of the unit. Flashback. Naruto stood over a line of small cage. Unlike the rest of his unit, they all wore their uniform, but they all wore almost style mask on their face. Inside the cages were mice, small white mice. There was a lot of syringe over to the side, and there was a white tube bottle. How close are we to stabilizing and getting rid of the virus' negative effects? Said the emotionless tone of Naruto. The medical specialist of the group was filling needles up. Pause as the person placed needles down. Out of the last 5, only 2 showed any promise. But then they started to mutate and become very violent and volatile. It was so bad I had to eliminate the specimens. However, I took the 2 and started to test parts of them. And I changed the serum. I'm about to test it now. Naruto nodded as he watched as the man stuck the needles into the mice's water bottles as a purplish drug ran into them. The mice started to drink the water as Naruto wondered which one of them would react first. After a few minutes, one of the mice started to squeak rather loudly as it brought everyone's attention towards it. As Naruto focused on the mice, all of them did. It started to twitch violently as it slammed itself violently in the metal bars. Again, slam! And again, slam! What the hell? One of the masked men says he took a step back. Suddenly, the mouse stopped moving as Naruto noticed his eyes had changed from that beady black color to a reddish orange, and the gash on its head healed rather quickly. What drug did you use? Said Naruto. As the medic answered, compound RHC 014 VP 009. Naruto nodded as he looked towards other mice that had dropped dead. Clear the cages, replace the mice, and start a test on multiple mice. If the results are the same, we will start human testing. When they start human testing, they were surprised to learn that it worked, as the person quickly healed, as the person had gained Naruto healing factor. So they killed the person as they start to administrate the drug to the unit. When they all were injected, they went through the process as their eyes bulged and changed just like the mice. At first they felt godly, like nothing could harm them. They felt unstoppable until something happened. They started to fall to the ground in pain. Naruto backed away as he made his way up to the observation room. The door could only be sealed from within inside. One whole side of the room was a window that could see everything that was going on down there, as he didn't have to worry about it breaking because it was reinforced and there were seals. As Naruto sealed the door, the red light started flashing inside as locks started to click into place. As Naruto looked through the window to see these human shaped leech monsters moving around, trying to find a way to get out. As he looked over and flicked a glass cage up to reveal a button underneath, the words under it, area, purge, unleash. As he glanced back out to what was once his comrades, as he muttered a quiet sorry before he pressed the button, a bunch of small cylinders came from the ceiling and released a mist that turned the room hazy. Another cylinder then came out as Naruto pressed the button once again, as the room was set ablaze. End of flashback. Snapping out of his thoughts, Naruto almost ran over a child, 3 of them to be exact, the one at the front door. As Naruto came to a stop, he was wearing a scarf, a long blue scarf. One of them were wearing glasses, the other one was a girl with orange hair. Hey, watch it, the boy with the scarf said. But Naruto still kept on walking. Hey, I'm talking to you. But Naruto ignored him as he was too busy thinking of ways to get back at the old man. He tilted his head at a rock past his face as he turned back around. Do you know who I am? My granddad is Hokage, and I'll get him to arrest you if you don't apologize to me right now. As Naruto looked toward the smirking boy, he had arrogance and ignorance dancing in his eyes, something that Naruto hated. The fact that he was an old fool grandson did not vote well for the child either. Get away from the honorable grandson, a voice said from the rooftop. As Naruto crossed his arms, well, if it isn't Ebisu, he said. As the man in all blue landed right in front of Naruto, between him and the group of kids. Honorable grandson, do not associate with street rats like... That was as far as the man got, as Naruto crashed his fist into the back of the man's head, as he was sent sailing as he broke through a wooden fence, as he collapsed on the ground. Just because I was demoted back down to Genin, doesn't mean my skills have gone back down to Genin. I was a special Jonin for a reason, you know, said Naruto, as he crossed his arms once again. Konohama and his friends were shocked, their eyes wide, as their instructor did not get back up. They always thought that Ebisu was the strongest, mostly because of that what he told them. Even if they had teamed up on him, they could never manage to defeat him no matter what. It was amazing this guy, who was way younger than his sensei, had knocked him out with one blow. As Naruto turned away to walk, until they started to chase after him once again, he snapped his gaze back towards them. What? He said. The other two took a step back except for Konohamaru, as he stood his ground. You're strong and you beat Sensei in one hit. How would you like the honor of teaching me, the Hokage grandson, and my friends? No, said Naruto. His voice was quiet. It carried this feeling of icy death with it. As Konohamaru's two friends saw it and they felt the fear, as he wanted to get the hell out of here. No, said Konohamaru, sounding rather surprised. Who would ever refuse the honor of teaching Hokage's grandson? What do you mean, no? Do you know who I am? I demand that you teach me. Don't make me... The boy was cut off as Naruto gripped his neck with one hand. Make you do what? Tell your granddad? You arrogant little shit. Hiding behind his coattail, expecting everything to go your way, and everything to be handed to you. People like you just piss me off. As Naruto did not hold his throat so tight so he could still speak. As Konohamaru gritted his teeth in defiance. What you gonna do about it, huh? I dare you, just wait until my granddad hear about this. He's gonna... But that was as far as he could say, as Naruto slammed a fist into his stomach and threw him right beside the special Jonin that was broken through the fence. Pathetic little prick, said Naruto. He snapped his gaze towards the other two. What about you two? Anything to say? They shook their heads as they moved away instantly, as Naruto paused before he looked up to the sky. Meanwhile, Sir Toby grimaced as he watched Naruto look directly at him through his crystal spear. He did all of that knowing that he was watching that meant that Naruto was truly pissed at him. After all, Naruto would just normally knock a person out quickly and painlessly by hitting pressure points, not knock the breath out of him and threw him that roughly, much less a child. He lit his pipe as he started questioning his decision of demoting Naruto back to Jonin. Naruto took pride in his skills, and for him to be pushed back down to the lowest rank was humiliating. It was basically him calling him pathetic and spitting on all of his hard work. As he could see it right now, Naruto wanted payback for the humiliation that he suffered, for the demotion. He'll have to be very careful from now on. At least one good thing came out of it though. Both Konohamaru and their sensei had their egos pop. A few days later, killed that bastard for attacking the Hokage's grandson. As Naruto evaded the attacks, words about his home location had gotten out, and 5 ninjas that hated him decided to kill him for hurting that little brat, probably under the old coach's orders. As Naruto ducked under a blade, he had already been hit a few times and the blades seemed to be saturated in poisons. Seeing that the wounds were still bleeding, normally he would have been able to escape something like this, but he had dropped his guard in his lab and he was attacked in his lab. Suddenly, all the warmth in the room seemed to fade away, as it was replaced by an icy cold. Chest, stomach, legs. They felt like they were on fire. Looking down, his body went cold. Protruding from all 3 points was a blade covered in blood. You bastard, said Naruto, as the blades were ripped out of him as he fell down to the ground. Come on, the poison should take care of the rest. Let's find a way out of here. He heard the voice above him. Yeah, I don't want to be here when the envoy show up. As he heard footsteps moving away from him, as he struggled to stand. What the hell? As he moved towards the lab, main computer terminal. Ignoring the peer, he started to type on the computer. As the screen turned into a timer. Emergency self-destruct activated. A female voice said, "All emergency exits sealed. Please proceed to the near emergency escape immediately. Timer, 7 minutes until self-destruction." As Naruto grinned evilly as he heard the voices frantically, as a message that said all emergency exits have been sealed appeared all over the base. Chuckling, he felt it groan as he gripped his necklace and broke it off from around his neck. As he took the top off, as it was a needle with the compound RHC014 VP009. He sticked himself with the purple liquid as he started to lose consciousness. If he had to die, he was sure as hell not going to let the village get off that easily. Meanwhile, Sir Toby had a smile on his face as he had just finished his paperwork, as he was happy until the secretary walked in with another stack, and behind her 2 other chonins with 2 other larger stacks. Hokage-sama. As the woman saw the man bang his fist on the table, why, he said childishly, before, boom, a massive explosion went off. The tower shook violently as the secretary fell, as the papers were blown away as the man moved towards the window. No, he said, as he saw the building that Naruto lived in went up in flames. Near the top of the rubble building, a person crawled out from under a support beam. As the person's body was cloaked, as red, orange, slitted eyes opened up, as Naruto stumbled away from the burning building after stucking himself with the virus. He woke up and he saw that he had 4 minutes left. As he had gathered as much as he could, his clothing was burned, there was blood over him, but there was no pain, as he didn't have a single wound over his body. He had gathered all the information. He did help create the virus, so how hard it would be to create it by himself over again. After he had gathered everything and decided to leave, the place had to went and blew up right on him. He ducked into the first aisle that he came into, as he threw his guts up, a green and black liquid emerging from his mouth. "Damn it," he said. As he wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, he looked up to see a bunch of people running down the street towards what used to be his compound, as he vanished in a poof of smoke. Time skip. It has been 2 days since the explosion, and they had searched through all the rubble, as Naruto besides he buried his face in his hand. Through the half-second day, a bunch of bodies had been found, and they could only assume that one of them was Naruto's. They were all charred and burned badly, to the point of no recognition. Sir Toby's heart was heavy with regret, as maybe if he had done things differently, Naruto wouldn't have been there, and they would have still been friends. And to make matters worse, every time he looked away, his paperwork seemed to triple, quadruple. It was just too much. He looked down towards one of the reports as he found one of them that said they found burned scrolls and novels. As here's an unsealed scroll. As he opened one of the scrolls, he poured some chakra into it. Poof! As journals came out. It was badly burned, but the paper in the middle could be seen somewhat. 6 months ago, as he flipped through it and found a good page, as he started to read. Journal entry. "We're getting closer and closer to our goal. We're coming so close to stabilize it, I can feel it. Actually, the whole unit can. Especially our leader. He's the reason why we have gotten so far. He's responsible for most of this. But most of our progress. I mean, if it weren't for his idea to use prosthetic organism to be the carriers for the virus, I would probably still be at square one right now." The middle of the page was burned and Sir Toby could not make it out. It is what parasite is called. A little organism, with a little change here and there. I bet I can make a mind control drug. It stopped right there as the rest of it was burned off. Mind control? Naruto, what were you working on? He thought to himself, as he could not read any more of it. He flipped as he found the next page to be 3 days after the last entry. Journal entry. Compound RHC008 and VP004 failed miserably today, except for one testing. It turns out while the parasite is the best way to transport the virus, there were some unseen effects. It seems the virus caused mutation in the parasite, that caused mutation in the mouse, that leads to immediate incineration. The mouse looked fine at first. It seemed to have also gained our leader's ability to heal, but the moment it became volatile and started to ram its head through the cage, I know something was wrong. At least some good came out of this. It's a little setback though, but I believe that we can overcome it. The symptoms are signs of extreme pain, sweating, shaking, bleeding from the eyes and ears, and in some cases the parasite could be seen crawling under the subject's skin. A name was signed under the bottom: Hikoji Fujin, Leaf, Unit, Medical Specialist. Sertob is sore. That man was one of the best medical field medics that Konoha had, and one of the best doctors who saw Naruto as a hero. He had been fired because he helped Naruto when he was attacked by a mob and injured one of them really badly. The civilian council forced the hospital to fire him, and he lost everything. Because of that, he lost some of his sanity and disappeared. But not before he swore revenge against the village. Now that he thought about it, the Leaf was formed not long after the man disappeared. Naruto, besides, he placed the journal down as he reached for another. Time skip. As Naruto looked at his reflection in the mirror of the cheap hotel room that he had rented, the hotel was run down and probably infested with 100 different of roaches. His torn bloody clothes was over in the corner, with a few roaches already piling over it. He didn't understand why he did not turn to one of those leech monsters like his comrades did, but he wrote it off to be his DNA that was used to create the virus in the first place. As he looked at his body in the mirror, all the small scars that he had from growing up was gone, and the baby fat was gone, replaced by muscle. He clenched his hand as the muscle actually twisted and moved under the skin. When he arrived outside the port out of Fire Country, he had bought himself some new clothes and glasses to hide his eyes. He had stepped in there and take what he wanted, and when he was about to step out, the shopkeeper had rushed him with a bat for him to pay up. He had dodged the swing and punched the man in the gut, but the man had broke right through his own shop and fell out in the street. He disappeared soon afterwards. He needed to head to Wave, where they had set up a smaller base. Time skip. 8 months passed since the incident. After fleeing Konoha, Naruto went to the Wave and found out that the Leaf base that he had there was taken over by some crime boss known as Goto. A couple of thugs had defaced the walls, tore up the furniture, broke through the concrete walls, and turned some of the rooms into a cheap bondage porno set. They could not get into the important part of the office though, like the labs, where his documents were stored, with information about secrets about all over the world from his spies. There was many things in there, like blackmail against several important figures around the elemental country, in fire, wind, lightning countries, like the daimyos and their countries. After using half of the thugs to test his new powers, he captured them, as he decided to use them as test subjects. The base wasn't hard to clean as Naruto forced them to clean up their mess. At first they protest until Naruto used his bare hands to rip one of them apart. A day later, as everything was fixed up, as the walls were replaced, the floor was replaced, and everything was getting back up to standard. Afterwards, he got some information about Goto. He used to be a small drug dealer, but now he started to push his business into shipping and bring some of his business public, the legal one, while most of his other business was illegal, while pushing drugs. And he also enslaved small girls, as he used them to sell them on the black trade market. But his business was threatened by a bridge builder who was trying to build a bridge to the mainland that would destroy his control over the land of Wave. While Naruto did not really care about the village, as it was rather boring around there, he found himself needing something to take up his time while he was not experimenting or running tests. Now we find him looking at his latest report as he smirked evilly. It turns out that Tazuna hired 2 groups from Konoha, led by Kakashi, the copy ninja, and Kurenai, the genjutsu mistress, along with Anko, the snake mistress, who was once a good friend of Naruto, as Naruto chuckled. The chuckle was not normal, it was dark. The thugs that were there in the building squirmed as they heard that evil laughter. He had something to do, and he was gonna twist it for all its work and milk it quite dry. As he looked towards where a bunch of metal cages were, looks like I'll be able to test out my new creations sooner than I thought. growling came from the cage, as Naruto turned his gaze towards it, as it immediately stopped. As he flicked his hair back, and placed on his glasses as he walked over to the cage, as there was a file resting on top of it. Inu was the name. Time skip. Uncle wasn't having a great day. It started out fine. A large dongo for breakfast. 2 missing ninjas to beat up and interrogate for information. And even beaten on a pervert who was trying to cop a feel. She beat him really badly. As he pissed her off, she broke every bone in his hand. As punishment for beating a civilian and basically torturing him. She didn't know what the big deal was. Sarutobi had forced her to go on this mission as backup with Kakashi and Kurenai. Not far from the boat, a pair of missing ninjas attacked them, and she used her hidden shadow snake technique from her sleeve, and that punk Uchiha demanded that she teach it to him. But that wasn't really much of a problem. But after they went back to mainland, they were attacked by Zabuza Momokai. But that wasn't even the problem. It was 10 packs of dogs that showed up. The dogs seemed to have gone through a meat grinder, and yet somehow survived. They look horrified, mutilated, and twisted, as the dogs attacked them, trying to bite their limbs off. During the fight, Zabuza and them had to stop fighting as he had to join forces with them, and saying that only he would kill them, as he wouldn't let some ravaged dog take his life or his opponent's. Not noting Kiba growling at disrespect towards the slang of the dogs. But no one really cared at the moment as the things were trying to kill them. Suddenly, a whistle stopped all the dogs as they clear a path. As they got into line of fights and sit down, 5 on the right, 5 on the left. A few minutes earlier, as Naruto stood on a branch as he watched as the 6 Genin, 2 Jonin and 1 special Jonin stood their ground against Zabuza. That made him shake his head. Konoha ninjas were really slacking off when he was 12. He could have put butt up for a fight, and Zabuza looked like he was just starting to break a sweat. He pulled the Inu scroll out as he jumped off in the forest, as he summoned 10 of his new creations, infected dogs. They used to be strays on the road until Naruto took them. He wanted to see what the virus would do to dogs. And, well, it turned them into bloodthirsty creatures. They will attack everything they saw except the other dogs, and they only listed Naruto, as he believed it was because of his DNA being in the virus itself. He looked down towards them as they all lowered their head, as Naruto pointed where the Konoha ninjas were fighting. Before he vanished, as he returned back to the branch, as he wanted to get a good view of the show. Just minutes of watching dogs attack gave Naruto all that he needed, as it was a success. He then whistled as they stopped attacking, as they moved and formed up in a line. As he jumped off the tree and landed, as he walked out. "Greetings," he said. Everyone tensed as he smirked, as he stopped behind the dogs. "It's been a while, Kakashi, Kurenai, Uncle. How have you guys been?" "Sensei, do you know him?" Sakura said, as she looked towards the blonde man and his dogs in fear. As Naruto recognized the Genins, he would have been in their graduation class if he hadn't started to leave, and being the professional that he was, he had took it upon himself to learn their names. After all, the children are the future. "No, I don't," said Kakashi, looking confused. "Do I?" said Kakashi as he looked towards the blonde. His hair was slicked back, he was wearing sunglasses, his clothes was all black. "Oh, don't tell me you forgot about me," said Naruto, as he saw their clueless looks. As he shook his head. "Alright, how about this?" As he reached up and messed up his hair, as he was now spiking all different directions. "Remember me now, Inu," he addressed Kakashi, as that was his Anfu code name. "You pervert little shoes humper." As Zabuza and his little hunter name used the opportunity to disappear. The Genins laughed at the name, as Uncle and Kurenai snicker at it. Kakashi's eyes widened. "No way. You're supposed to be dead." As Naruto slicked his hair back. "You should know, Kakashi. It takes more than an explosion to kill me." "Well, fully at least," said Naruto. The realization hit Uncle. "Wait, Naruto? Is that you?" Naruto's death had hit her hard. He was one of the only few that treat her like she mattered, and he did not call her names behind her back. Or did he just want to sleep with her? He treated her fairly. He even defended her once when she let her emotions run rampant, and did the same thing that landed her on this mission. As Naruto smirked, as Sasuke looked at a dark smirk on his face. Yes, uncle, it is fight me! As Naruto was cut off, everyone looked towards Uchiha like he was a damn fool. Even Kakashi. Sasuke, he's too strong for you to fight. But Sasuke was not listening to anything. Who cares what he was? It's not like he could defeat an elite like me. Hey, fight me! Kakashi, I think you need to teach your students some manners, said Naruto. There was something about his voice. As Kiba noticed the Jonins, they looked cautious. Something was wrong. Don't talk like I'm not here, you fool, Sasuke said, as he drew a kunai and threw it towards the blonde. As Naruto caught the blade, as he crushed the tip of it. You'll regret that, he said, as he flicked the kunai up in the air. Sasuke looked up towards the blade that Naruto threw, and that was a big mistake. As Naruto moved, blood exploded out of Sasuke's mouth. As a brutal fist growing in his guts, he broke through several trees as he crashed. Sasuke-kun! Sakura screamed as she pulled a kunai and tossed it after Naruto. As Naruto tilted his head, as he sighed in annoyance. Here I come to have a nice conversation, and I'm being attacked by your students. He lied. Fine, I can see that I'm not welcome, but we will meet again, he told them. As he threw something, Kakashi was about to move to intercept the blonde, but black smoke came out of it, and Naruto was gone. Time skip. Sensei, who was that, Sakura said, as she was angry at that blonde guy who hurt her Sasuke-kun, as she wanted revenge at him. Kakashi was carrying the unconscious Uchiha. Looked back at all the others, except Sai, seemed to want to know. That was Uzumaki Naruto. He used to be a special Jonin, and the leader of the Leaf unit. Leaf? Said Kiba confused. What's that? Leaf is a elite unit. It was comprised of 6 ninjas that were expert in each of their field, and Naruto was the leader of said team. Not much is really known about them, said Kurenai, as she answered her own student question. As Anko nodded to that, she was actually happy that he was alive. Most people don't know anything about them, Anko said. They don't even know what leaf means. And you do, said Kiba. Lethal, efficient, attack force, she said, sticking out her tongue childishly. As Kakashi looked towards her. How do you know that, he said. As everyone focused on her. Well, if the Hokage did not disband the leaf, and that explosion went off, I would have joined, she said. Naruto sent me an invitation a few weeks before the whole mess, saying that my special techniques in torture and interrogation would be much appreciated. Time skip. A few days later, Gato sat in his office nervously. Yes, he was the boss of his operation, but he had bosses, higher-ups, that were far away from here, but they wanted to see his progress. The group that he worked for was an old one, and he followed the old ways. That meant if they found out that it was his fault the village was in such bad shape, and some unknown guy kept on killing his mercenaries, well, he was screwed. As he poured himself a drink, before he shakily put it down, the door then opened up, as a man in a black suit walked in. God help me, he thought, as he stand up to greet the higher-up. Time skip. Growls echo in the forest of the village. As Naruto stood with a cigarette, as it was burning, he watched his dogs rip into some bodies of some thugs who thought it was fun to attack him. They were pretty good as well. He would have to replace one of the dogs that were cut in half by their lead thug. As he adjusted his sunglasses, he took a drag on his smoke. He never really smoked that much before. Usually, when he was waiting for something, or when he was really annoyed. To tell the truth, he blamed Kishikai, their demolition expert, as he was the one that got him started on smoking. The story was, one day, him and Naruto waiting for a mission to start, and Naruto kept on fidgeting in annoyance. So the man had told him that he needed to mellow out, as he gave him one of his cancer sticks that he always had with him. For a while after that, Naruto depended on the man to give him cigarettes, if there was an off chance that he needed one. But now that the man was dead, Naruto got his hands on the man's stash. It was actually only one box, but it had special seals over it that refilled it every time it was empty. That explained a lot. as Naruto tossed the button on the ground, not even bother with the sounds of ripping flesh and crushed bones. Over the time while killing thugs and leaving their bodies all over the place, he had become like a legend to these villagers. A mysterious man in a pack of man-eating dogs that kill Gato thugs without being seen or heard anything about until it is too late. After the first few deaths, the villagers gave him a name, the Silent Devil, and they called his dog pack the Demon Dogs. He knew that by saving a few of them by killing these thugs would make them see him as some kind of helper, but he was becoming a hero for God's sake. Was Gato really this bad to them? Being so greedy and corrupted that they would embrace someone unknown that was, well, actually looking for the thrill of killing and experimenting on people? Well, they didn't know that. They didn't even know him. This spell, he said, the 9 dogs, along with the one that was sliced in half, poofed away. As he started to make his way to where the swordsman had came from, now that he knew where one was. When he finally arrived, he was stopped by a pair of sword-carrying men. "What the hell do you want?" As Naruto looked up as he adjusted his shades. "Nothing much," he said. As he turned his fist and thrust it forward, he slammed it into the man's nose. The bone of his nose broke off as it stabbed into his brain, killing him instantly. As Naruto ducked as a sword passed over his head and clanged against the door. As Naruto grabbed the man's arm and pushed his hand forward, his hand burst through the man's chest. As Naruto ripped it back out with the man's heart that beat right in his hand, the man dropped as he tried to reach out for his own heart. As Naruto leaned down and placed it right in the man's hand, but he died before he could get it back though. So Naruto decided to give it to him. As he lifted his foot and kicked the door down, the group of 8 thugs along with 5 women. The girls looked like hell, like they had been through literal hell. Their eyes unfocused. Tear marks run down their face. "Who the hell are you?" one of the men said, as he was already in the process of molesting one of the women. Without saying a word, the room burst into smoke, as the man and the woman started to cough, as animalistic growls started to be heard. When the room was finally clear, they saw him. It was him, the man that everyone was talking about. And the reason was the dogs. The 9 dogs growled. "Kill the man," said Naruto. The girls rushed aside, but the dogs just passed them and jumped towards the man as it tore into their flesh. It started to rip them apart. To the women that he saved, they finally understand why he was called the Silent Devil, and while his dogs were called Demon Dogs, as the fight over rather quickly. Some of the women threw up at the sight, as it was just too much as the dog crunched on bones and ripped them apart. As Naruto shook his head, was all of Gato thugs like this? Rapists and murderers? As he looked towards the women that he saved, as he thought about the other people that he saved, well, they were just there, and he had killed a few swordsmen, and by killing the swordsman he had saved a few people, by accident to be perfectly clear. And they started to see him as some god-sent hero, while that was not the effect. He got a idea, several to be exact. "Leave," said Naruto. As the girls quickly ran out of there, they were still too afraid, too shaken to do anything, but ran. Well, to the victors go the spoil, as Naruto created a few clues after dispelling the dogs, as they started to ransack the room to find everything they could. There wasn't really much of value, just a few cheap swords, some money, and a stack of orange book. Time skip. Sarutobi felt like yelling and destroying something. Somehow the council had the bright idea of going through the classified files in the archives and find out who Naruto's parents were. One Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. When they finally came out of their shot, they started to yell for him to be found and brought back to his rightful home. It was amazing. Demon 1 minute, hero the next. They even released that information to the village, and their reaction was the same. Now he was forced to go through all this paperwork, sort through mission scrolls, as ninjas were volunteering to go and retrieve their hero and bring him back. Not to mention the already married proposal from the other clans, who wanted the Namikaze bloodline mixed with theirs. The Namikaze bloodline was special indeed. It gave all users a strong affinity to all elements, and without it, the Flying Thunder God technique could not be used. The reason being, Tobirama Senju had created the technique, but he could never use it as Minato because it was too disorienting. But people that had Namikaze blood were naturally fast, so they could better move around, and they had the speed to back it up. So without the namikaze blood running through your veins, the flying thunder god technique was well, off topic. Sir Toby gave into his anger as he grabbed the dex and threw it, only to realize a stack of finished paperwork. No, he said as he reached towards it, but it was too late, as the thing broke and fell through the window. The man collapsed to the ground, as he just lay there on his back. It took him forever to finish that, as he started to cry. Unlike Sir Toby, Gato didn't waste time, as he could not throw his dex to the window though, but he took one of his most expensive bottle of sake as he threw it, breaking the window. The reason behind his fear was that silent demon who has killed all of his mercenaries that were at small bases and set all of his women free. Those women had ran past the mafia guys that were sent to inspect Wave to see the condition, and they had asked them what happened. Now he was in deep shit. The boss himself was coming down. He just hoped that he could somehow get out of this, and he would find that silent devil, demon, and those demon dogs, whatever, and he would make them suffer. He started to calm down as he took a deep breath, as he sat back down. He then looked through the open window that was broken. My sake! No, he shouted as he started to cry in anger and frustration. Time skip. Naruto was walking on the streets of Wave. At night, the place seemed built the same way. Bums on the streets. Trash, paper here and there. As he walked past a larger building, he sensed something coming down towards him. As he reached out a hand as he caught it, it was a bottle. As he looked to find the person to shove it down their throat. But he looked what the bottle held, and seeing that there was no one around, he looked up. A bribe. Try and bribe me all you want, Kami, but it's still not gonna help. I'm still gonna unleash hell on this world. Meanwhile, damn it, said Kami, as she was on the edge of a cloud looking down. What's wrong, Kami-chan? As a man walked over, peeping over the edge. Kami sighed as she propped her head on her hands. I'm just trying to stop Naruto from destroying Fire Country. How about you, Shin Kami-kun? Nothing much. Did you try to bribe him? With a bottle of sake? Yeah, so what, she said. Oh, nothing, he said, knowing not to take her off. So, what now? She grinned. Oh, you'll see. I have a plan. Meanwhile, as Naruto popped off the cork of the bottle, as he took a sip of the sake, he had to say it was the best in the world. He felt bad for whoever lost it. As Naruto drank it, before he sensed something coming towards him, as he turned his head. What the shit? As a dex with papers on it slammed right into him. As Naruto rolled on the ground, he picked himself up as he looked at the broken bottle in his hand, with the stake all gone. As he looked up at the sky, oh you bastard, he said. Time skip. 2 days had passed since Naruto had destroyed the eastern base of Gato, and he also accidentally revealed something that he could do. Bring the dead back to life and turn them into monsters. As that did not change the people of Wave opinion about him, but he didn't want that out in the public yet. It was his fault really. When he told the woman to leave, he had forgotten about the one that fainted. When he did a field test with a more recent virus on a dead body, he didn't notice the girl waking up until it was too late. He couldn't kill her, that would bring too much unanswered questions. Nor could he keep her a prisoner, that would bring the same problem. So he let her leave, as it was his only option at the time. Right now he was sitting in a better part of the village. Well, it was not really better, but he was stable, as he was at a restaurant eating some dango and puff fish. It was a bit overpriced because of the economy, but he has eaten worse and worse overpriced. As he picked up some of the fish and popped it in his mouth. Hello, Uncle Chan, he said, as the shadow behind him stopped. As a sigh could be heard as the person sat beside him. Fugu, he said, as he motioned towards the plate. Uncle blinked. Isn't fugu fish poison? Very, he said, as Uncle's sweat dropped. Dango, he said, as he also had Dango with him. Seeing that she didn't accept the fish, the 2 sticks of dango in his hand instantly vanished, as it was now in her hands. If you insist, she said. As she chomped down on the dango, the pair sat in a comfortable silence eating their food. As Uncle sighed, why are you wearing sunglasses, she asked. As Naruto almost choked on his fish. Of all the things that you could have asked. As he shook his head, I wear them to hide my eyes. Hide your eyes, said Uncle. Why would you want to hide your eyes, she asked. Here, I'll show you. As he pulled them down, Uncle gasped at his slitted orange eyes. What happened to you, Naruto-kun, she said, as she stared into his eyes. As Naruto was a bit surprised, she didn't freak out like he thought she would. I guess she does care about me, he thought to himself, as he smiled inwardly at that. As he decided to trust her as he told her what happened back then, being attacked by the 5 ninjas, and the self-destruct and everything. But how are you still alive, Uncle said. That blast. It should have killed you. Well, Uncle Chan, before my men were killed, we were working on a way to transfer my healing ability to my unit. And what? They tried it and didn't work, she asked. Quite the opposite, actually, said Naruto as he pulled out something out of his pocket. It was a syringe. As he popped the cap, the needle underneath. It worked. Well, at least for a while. Huh? Said Uncle. While it worked, we had to make sure we use a parasite to make sure the virus was not killed by the body's natural defense system before it could take effect on the host. But we did not plan on the virus mutating the parasite and doing the same thing to the host. But it did not affect me because it was my DNA. Take those dogs for example, said Naruto. Uncle grimaced at the dogs. Those things were hideous and gave the Jenny nightmares. As a thought popped in her head, hey, what's with the silent hero thing? I never took you as a hero type, she asked. Curious about that. But guys, leave me in right here. If you want to see next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember to share this to all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.